Hearthstone Global Games is an epic country versus country tournament where teams of 4 card slingers each clash for national pride.
But in the end, the UK always wins.
Wait, everybody knows it's Germany always wins.
Aren't you Polish?
Is winning all that matters?
It's all about fun and getting along with your teammates.
That's easy when their skills are legendary.
Or in this case, you have an ace player who will never let you down.
So we're gonna see the same old archetypes then?
No, every team needs to bring all 9 classes.
So we're gonna see Hunter?
I wonder.
So let's recap. It's 4 regions, 48 countries, but
Only one winner.
Get ready.
for the Hearthstone
Global Games.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to week 12 of the Hearthstone Global Games. Once again, I'm Falcone, joined today by APAC Dad.
Hello, how's it going, man?
How's it going, Lorinda?
Yeah, going good. We've got lots of APAC action today for you. I'm in amongst some other countries thrown in there as well while we're at it. So yeah, looking forward to it as always.
Can't let that name drop, it's just such a good one.
Yeah, thanks, Chalk, for that.
Let's take a look at the Hearthstone Global Games format, which we are well and truly into now. Stage 1 is long gone, way in the past now. It was a 10-week round robin, but we split the teams in half at the end of stage 1, and now we're in stage 2. Neil, take it away.
Yep, 6 groups, 4 teams, 3 weeks. That means everybody plays everybody, and if you win some games, you probably go through. 2 games is all but guaranteed. We're aware it's not 100%, but if you win twice, I'm going to say you're through. But Mr. Gaskin has been doing the maths on that, and he'll let you know exactly what's going on later.
Basically, something has to go very wrong if the people with 2 wins don't
Hey,
go through.
I'm here. Things can go wrong all the time.
Let's
It'll
take
be
a
fine.
look at the groups for Stage 2 of the Hearthstone Global Games. Group A, Malaysia, China, Norway, Singapore. Only seen a couple games from Group A so far, but we're going to see 2 more of those today even, I think.
Yeah, I was under the impression that China and Norway had played, actually, and China had beaten them, but we'll find out later, just double-check that. Group B, again, not much going on yet, but United States continuing, and Czech Republic continue their great runs from the first phase.
Israel going to be against Belgium later today. Group C, Netherlands, Argentina, South Korea, and Philippines. South Korea? Who's Korea?
South Korea, I don't know, she's obviously one of your friends.
New Zealand, Brazil, Taiwan, Hungary, Group D. Another very cool group here.
Yeah, well, not much is cool about anything in Europe at the moment. Everything's boiling, but yeah, New Zealand continuing that story, which started with that last week win, of course.
Greece become one of my favourite teams over the last few weeks. I know that it's one of your picks to win the Hearthstone Global Games.
Yeah, and Ukraine, another team that just keep on winning.
Austria not quite able to beat Ukraine last time, but it was a close series, if I remember rightly. Italy, there's my team once again, sitting nicely on the top of their group.
Yeah, Mexico, a team that not everybody would think was going to do well here, but they're proceeding to just keep beating everybody. And of course, there's 24 teams, there's 12 matches a week. We're going to see every team every week. It's better, you know, we see every team. If your team's not playing today, they're playing tomorrow. Let's have a look who is playing today.
Yeah, so first game, one we got coming up right away, is going to be Hungary versus Taiwan. Then it's going to be China, Malaysia, Norway, Singapore, Belgium, Israel. Finishing off the day with Netherlands versus South Korea. Neil, have you got a favourite game that you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to Netherlands, South Korea. South Korea, Ravens pick for the whole thing, I believe. Yep. One of the strongest teams of the tournament. And the Netherlands is just powerhouse, and Mitsuhide winning Seat Story, just making that even more ridiculous now.
It's just a team that continues to prove themselves, isn't it? I mean, you've got everyone knows who Tice is. I think at this point everyone knows who Tyler is.
Yeah.
Theo, Mitsuhide, it's just a strong team. But before we jump ahead of ourselves too much, let's look at the first game coming up today. Exego, Penhadani, Chaincaller, Exile for Team Hungary versus Tom 60229, Ping Ho. Oh my goodness, I'm already struggling with names as the first game. Roger and Malagos.
At least they're written in their English forms for us to give us some sort of chance.
That is convenient, yeah. That is convenient.
And yet again, we look at these exquisite views from countries that aren't the United Kingdom. Luckily, we don't even have to explain the United Kingdom video ever again, as we go to the real countries in the world that look really good.
The real countries, ouch. The shots all over the place already. Exquisite, good word, by the way. Good job at avoiding beautiful.
But yeah, Taiwan looks beautiful as ever.
Good job. Good job, Neil.
But look at that. Why can't we go there? I want to cast from there. I doubt the reception's very good.
From a forest or something?
Yeah.
We can go cast from a rainforest.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
It'd be very fitting, I think, with Hearthstone. Let's take a look at how this first series is going to go. This is the Hearthstone Global Games format. If you're new, then we'll quickly go over it for you. The 9 classes have been split between the 4 players on each team. 1 player gets 3 classes. That's the ace player who's going to play a second time if we get to the 5th game. But it's going to be blind pick. The order that the players are playing and the 2 classes they've got to choose between are predetermined. They're going to find out what their opponent's 2 classes are and then decide which one they want to bring.
Yeah, Penhadani there filling in for Xer, who can't make it today. He let us know he couldn't make it, so we're nice around here. We let them have a substitute. Looking at that lineup there from Hungary is interesting because Exigo is playing Druid and Mage in his ace match lineup, and you normally pair that with either Hunter or Warlock to bury them.
Yeah.
He's gone for Priest, which is probably the 7th best class, but it does mean that they've got to find a good pairing for Hunter and a good pairing for Warlock. They've put their Warlock with the Paladin. The reason being that the Paladin's pretty unpredictable. It can be anything, so you can still have the Warlock as a buried class. But they put their Hunter with the Warrior, I believe, at the first match. So interesting to see what they pick here, because they've actually chosen to use the Hunter as a real class.
Yeah, that's pretty good analysis. I was just thinking when you were saying that about how Paladin can do anything, and it got me thinking how...
Not anymore.
Well, it got me thinking to how previously we thought of Druid as that class. Like,
right.
You know, it's the aggressive class, and then you've got the Jade that does the other thing. But you're right, like Paladin, you've got the more aggressive Murloc builds, you've got the control Paladin builds, even all the way up to N'Zoth. That is really the class that can do anything.
I've sort of split it into 3. So Paladin, Druid, and Warrior. You have no idea what they're going to be.
Right.
Then you've got Shaman, Rogue, and Mage, which are kind of predictable.
Got a pretty good idea.
I realise there is versatility there, but you've got an idea. And then there's Warlock, Hunter, and Priest, which are the classes you've got to look after. But they are going to go with the Hunter, in fact, so choosing not to get their Warrior out here. And they're up against the Mage, which looks like it could be any sort of Mage, pretty much.
Yeah, predictably, there's a Mana Worm there, so we can kind of rule out Freeze Mage. There's a Flame Strike and Alexstrasza, so we can rule out Secret Mage. And Cabal Courier seals the deal. It's going to be a Gunther Mage.
And Hunter is a good choice here against the Mage. Very slight favourite for me, I think.
Yeah, it's always been like Hunter versus Mage has always been slightly favoured towards the Hunter, especially if the Hunter has snuck in a little sneaky flair there.
Yeah, the Hunter, I mean, even without the flare, it's decent because you can just kill the block immediately the turn after you proc it every time. So the Mage does have to use that block to kill you immediately, which obviously is the plan. But like you say, if they sneak in a flare or something, even more ridiculous things can happen.
It's one of those many matchups where Alexstrasza is really important because that can be one way the Mage survives a few extra turns afterwards.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, the Hunter's going to get you down to 1 health before you even get to turn 9. So it is a case of the Mage just having to try and preserve its health total, stay as healthy as possible.
Taiwan with a very, very good hand here, though. The Mana Worm into Arcanologist draw is one of the most oppressive draws in all of Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Because you're guaranteed that 1, 2, 3. And they're even going to be able to preserve the coin here as well. Mana Worm just challenging all of Hunter's turn 1 plays so beautifully.
Something could go very right for Penhadani here if this ping goes where it wants to go. They're cheering. It does it. Scavenging Hyena sat there as a 4-3. No Frostbolt represented in Tom's hand. That's a really good start for Hungary there.
Yeah, that's going to turn out pretty good, I think, is the phrase in that situation.
Do they have to play Glyph now and just try and get a Frostbolt from it? Because that seems like a very desperate play to have to make on turn 2.
Yeah, curious to see what happens if they play the Arcanologist. Like, none of the responses are particularly good. You can kill command, which seems okay, and pounds the turn after. But I think you just do this.
I think you're right, but it feels so bad. Just you play a 2-3 against your opponent's 4-3. It makes the trade. It still has a health. It still has 1 health left. And as we can see, doesn't even have to make the trade. Unleash the Hounds could do some work soon if that Hyena lasts much longer.
Yeah, if you Glyph, you can get rid of this Hyena, but you can get rid of the Hyena with a Fireball on turn 4, on turn 3 if you want with a coin, if things get out of hand. And if they get out of hand, it's because something has died. So I think you're good to drop the Arcanologist here. Also, obviously, all the usual sort of story, it thins out the deck and all those things that everybody knows by now.
Best case scenario here is that Taiwan can get rid of that Hyena with a trade and a ping. I don't know. That might actually end up being the case as well. Penhadani's got a tough turn here. He can either start developing some Fireflies, develop Rat Pack, Kill Command is the play that you highlighted earlier. That seems like the obvious one if you want to keep the Hyena alive, but how many resources do they actually want to waste in keeping this Hyena alive?
It's tricky call because they're almost certain now that Tom doesn't have Frostbolt.
Yeah.
Because he would have used it.
Yeah.
And so I think he might prioritize keeping this Hyena alive because of that. But honestly, if you just want to develop your board, I get it. And play the Rat Pack and then choose. You can go face or trade depending, because they can't trade into the Rat Pack first anyway. They waste their whole turn on a 3-mana ping. That's pretty good for you.
Regardless of the situation, really, Hungary are in a great position here. They've got a 2-drop that might eat up a coin and Fireball after dealing 4 damage to the face. It's such a strong start. Kill Command gonna do its job. Kind of trading down there, 3-drop getting rid of a 2-drop, but it just doesn't matter here.
Yeah, and I think the Firefly pickup may have helped that decision a little as well, because next turn is so clean now, whichever they go for. If your opponent spams the board with minions, you play Unleash the Hounds, you trade into them, you play your Firefly for curve, and bish, bash, bosh, you kill off all your Hounds, you get a giant Hyena and hit them in the face. And if they don't do anything, or if they kill the Hyena, you just play Firefly Rat Pack and move on with your life.
Right.
Showing the power of Firefly in Hunter, just that little curve filler that makes sure the pressure keeps coming.
And look at that, it's happening. It's happening. Tom feeling the need to Fireball away the Scavenging Hyena.
Yeah, that play was forced by Hungary, just keeping their Hyena alive there, and recognised there was almost certainly no Frostbolt.
That Crackling Razormaw would have been one heck of a punish if the Hyena survived.
Right.
Just granting it Wind Fury.
Got to deal with those things.
Oh, and there's the Frostbolt.
Just in the nick of time. Oh, hang on. No, maybe not.
All right, now Tom needs to try and get himself back on the board here. We're going to have to try and work out how he's going to do that. Frostbolt doesn't do all that much here. It gets rid of the Rat Pack, but it still leaves 2 rats on the board. It still leaves the Firefly. I wonder if double Primordial Glyph might be tempting, just to try and get just to set up for a swing turn, maybe next turn or the turn after.
Yeah, it just looks so grim, though, but I think you're right. Just a reminder, the regular weekly reminder that Hungary are not playing 3 versus 1 here. All 4 members of each team are in the ears, are in a communication channel.
In the ears?
They're in their ears. Yeah, I have these voices in my ears all the time, don't you? But yeah, they have this communication going on, except for Hungary, who are playing a man down today because he couldn't make it. So X not present. But Tom will have his teammates helping out.
Oh man, the Frostbolts are trolling Tom today. There's another one.
Still decent, though. I feel you still take it, unless you feel that Flame Strike's going to help you recover from a Savannah High main later.
Not to be results-oriented here, but I like to think that that means that previously Frostbolt would have... the Glyph would have gotten him the Frostbolt and he would have dealt with the Hyena on turn 2.
Don't think that's how
Not to be results.
random number generators work,
No, I think
to be
you're
perfectly honest.
Oh, okay, no attack. Attack would have been a big deal here because it would have not only been more damage, but it would have added extra rats when the Rat Pack dies.
Tough decision, actually, because Wind Fury is going to deliver an extra 2 damage immediately and force an answer, whereas Divine Shield had made the answers worse, so...
Well, we said earlier that dealing damage is really important for the Hunter. They want to get that mage down to 2 or 1 health. Though, Taiwan have done a good job of setting up the swing turn, as we described before. They've got a 1-mana Volcanic Potion, 2 Frostbolts that are both playable with the Volcanic Potion if necessary.
Yeah, this is going to work out badly for Hungary. I think they've got every reason to believe that this can't be dealt with.
Yeah.
With the Volcanic Potions, at least. And if the opponent's Blizzard, you don't mind, because you hit them with the Rat Pack tokens and play whatever you draw. But of course, it was the second Glyph that got the potion that's going to end up in them being incredibly punished.
Oh man, Tom can even set up the counterspell this turn as well if he wants to. I think I prefer setting up the Cabal Courier just to put something on the board. Like you can play the 0-mana Frostbolt, then the Volcanic Potion, and then just put a 2/2 on the board.
Yeah, I think that's how it's going to go down.
Even if the Rat Pack did get the extra attack earlier and spawn more rats now, it just wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah, and suddenly Hungary, even after that great start, are looking to be in a bit of trouble. Cabal Shadow Priest.
Oh, that's so tempting.
Pretty tempting here. Steals Tundra Rhinos.
Yeah, it's definitely the pick. Oh my goodness. If it does get a Tundra Rhino, even a second Rat Pack is pretty huge. But Penhadani's hand now is looking dire.
All right, so they've got to do 19. That's 10 presses of the button. That's way too many. I think you might just play an Unleash here and do 1 point of damage.
I was considering that as well.
I don't think it helps enough, I guess.
Not agreeing with. I guess he wants to get at least 2 Hounds.
It's literally 1 damage for 3 mana, yeah. I guess there's no point. Turn 8, he'll be able to play double Hounds and press the button.
Yeah, and at one point there's Hounds plus Kill Command
Sure.
as well.
Yeah, that's right. You've got to save it.
Arcanologist going to come down there, grab another secret. What do you expect? Another Ice Block?
I mean, probably Counterspell.
Do you think a second Counterspell?
But yeah, 2 ice blocks.
There may be 2 of each.
Yeah, double counterspell is becoming a lot more common than it used to be. I don't think it's necessarily the most common yet.
It's almost replaced Ice Barrier in a lot of lists.
Yeah.
But counterspell are going to do a good job of preventing one of those unleashed.
Hey, and they're going to be rewarded, though, for holding onto them last turn.
I said earlier, Penhedani's hand was looking dire.
Wow.
Now it really is.
Now it's looking pretty alpha.
But it's pretty good with the hounds as well. It's just a shame about that counterspell.
Yeah, that's interesting. He's going for the hounds first, which makes a lot of sense, because if he goes for the hounds first, he can test for counterspell and doesn't have to just commit his direwolf, which means he's going to be rewarded. Now he can just press the magic button and then next turn go hounds into direwolf.
Yeah, he's pretty sure it's not mirror entity. If you expect it to be mirror entity, you play the direwolf first so that the hounds spawn an extra hound.
It's the grinning madman. It's Harrison Jones, meaning that they are teching this obviously against all the weapon classes. And I find it interesting to see when they tech this deck against weapon classes, because it makes you wonder, are they going to tech other decks against the weapon classes as well?
I can't help but feel as though this might just be the ice block turn. I guess he could just develop the Cabal Shadow Priest if he wants to kind of win the game as soon as possible, but I don't mind just ice block ping. You've got 2 ice blocks, so as long as there's no flare or no Eater of Secrets or something crazy like that, you're alive for a long time. And I think Harrison and Cabal Shadow Priest can just be so valuable later on.
Yeah, because like you say, you've got the double ice block. But
sure, okay. Harrison's fine. You put a lot of attack on the board.
Is this actually very close to just a lockdown now? Like if they can remove your minions, that's fine for you because they're not hitting you in the face. Oh, Bitter Tide's interesting.
Yeah, that's.
And if they can't move your minions, you've got 2-turn lethal with double blocks, so they've got to actually kill the minions now. So, Direwolf into Unleash is never going to be better than it is right now. How can they set up a potential lethal? I think they're one short. If they go Direwolf Unleash, they can do 5 to face, press the button. That's... Oh, okay. That would be 7. Yeah, that puts them on 8, which means the next turn Kill Command and Hero Power only puts them down to 1. So even without the ice blocks, which haven't been revealed yet by Tom, he's had no time, they can only put Tom down to 1, I believe.
Penhedani needs to somehow squeeze 1 extra damage out of his deck. Is he going to make a trade there?
Yeah, what he's actually going to do is, because he can't get them down to 1, he's going to put them down to the equivalent of 2 in his mind, because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just 1 extra hero power, and they get to buy himself more time to press that hero power by trading into 2-2.
It's clever. Deals 1 extra damage total to the board because he gets the little daisy chain there with Direwolf Alpha that we've seen so often with Flame Tongue Totem. Medea's Valet, pretty nice pickup. Taiwan are going to want to play the Cabal Shadow Priest here, but then they're also not going to want to risk not playing
They have to set up the block. What Penhedani's just done is put them below 10, which is double kill command.
Yeah.
And
they've seen 1 kill command earlier with the...
Oh, of course they have, sorry.
With the Arcanologist, but...
So it's not so bad.
Regardless, I think it's too risky to not play it here. Ice block plus Medea's Valet plus a ping just looks like such a clean turn. Ooh. I guess he could take a hound and trade it into the other one.
I mean, it clears, so kill command would only be 3. It would need to be precisely kill command, cheap beast, and Eaglehorn bow, right?
Yeah.
They'll have 9 mana, so Eaglehorn's 3. It needs a 1 mana beast, kill command, and Eaglehorn, I think, is lethal.
Okay. Which is possible. Unlikely, though. There's the cheap beast. If that Bitter Tide Hydra was a bow, that could have been a disaster for Tom, but luckily not punished for not dropping the ice block there.
Yeah, that would actually have been lethal, right? That would have been 9 mana, available, 10 damage to face. But sometimes you've got to take these tiny risks that aren't really risks. But I feel that Tom had it locked out if he plays ice block. So, given that he's got direct damage in hand and meter in hand.
Well, I guess maybe he's playing around Flare. He decided he actually wants to put as much damage on the board as quickly as possible. He doesn't want to have to rely on the ice blocks if he can get away with it. He decided it was safe enough with the low possibility of him losing that turn to make this play. And as we can see, it doesn't matter either way. There's no Flare represented in Penhedani's hand at the moment.
Right, and this is the other thing you're saying at the moment. Like, they are going to be able to put Tom down to 2. Yeah. And if there's a Flare in the deck, they will win next turn if they don't die. But we can see the way that Tom set it up, they will actually die.
Ice block plus Medea's Valet plus Frostbolt plus a ping plus the damage on the board is more damage than needed. Penhedani may be considering kill commanding Harrison here.
Yeah, trying to work out how they win if they do that, but he is going to. Because, you know, the Mage's got 5 cards in hand, the fact there's going to be loads of direct damage, and that is 9 is going to be enough, I'm sure.
Yeah, you can play both Frostbolts, Amadeus Valet, and Ice Block this turn, and then the 9 damage on board is more than enough.
Yeah, Taiwan going to take a 1-0 lead.
I say more than enough. I think it might be exact.
It's exact.
Yeah. Same difference.
It is indeed.
There you
Next
go.
matchup's going to be interesting with Roger on Shaman or Priest, and Exigo is going to be on Druid or Mage. You'd expect Roger to go with the Shaman almost certainly, just because Priest has just got weaker and weaker over time, although obviously did make #1 legend last week,
Priest
so you know.
gets weaker and weaker. Priest is like consistently weak, but such a versatile deck as well. I think it's more versatile than we give it credit for. It's kind of got the anti-control deck in the Silence Priest, which we do see sometimes. The new anti-aggro deck you were just referring to there, Kalento's rank 1 legend, Light Warden Priest, that took us by surprise last week, but is now pretty well established. We saw 3 of them in the Hearthstone Global Games last week. So, I don't know. I would expect Shaman like you.
And Exigo expected Shaman as well. He's gone with the Mage, and yeah, that means he's picked the Mage, obviously, to deal with the Shaman, and Roger was ready for that eventuality.
Yeah, losing some mind games there, though, as Priest typically is very favored against the Mage. Roger kind of getting the read there that his opponent's going to take the Mage, and ends up with that. Priest of the Feast being the key card in any Mage versus Priest match.
Right, exactly.
A lot of the time, as soon as the Priest picks up Priest of the Feast, as long as they've got something like a Power Word Shield, maybe Shadow Word Death for an Alexstrasza, Shadow Visions, anything like that, they kind of just win the game most of the time.
Yeah, just don't play that Priest of the Feast, kids. We've seen too many people play it and lose because of it. Just keep it in your hand.
Oh, on turn 4? Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen too many people do it for tempo, and it just doesn't work out too well most of the time. You just win if you keep it back. Against most mages, depending.
Yeah.
Sometimes if it's secret mage, you do kind of have to get stuff on the board.
Well, I've seen people saying that Priest of the Feast, like, you keep it in the mulligan against Mage,
Yeah,
because it's
you
such
do.
a strong card. If you've got a second one in your hand, then maybe you can consider playing the first for tempo.
Seen it done, and I've seen people need to top deck the second one to get out of trouble because of it. So I do understand.
I mean, if you've got both in your hand, then you can.
Oh, if you've got both, then you can dump the first on the board. For
Then
sure.
again, if you can later on, when you are like put down to 5 health or whatever, you can go double Priest of the Feast plus Shadow Visions. Then that ends up being pretty insane, also. So Priest of the Feast, just an absurdly strong card in that matchup. Is there any Mage matchup with Priest of the Feast? Isn't that strong? You mentioned Secret Mage.
I mean, I think it's still okay, but it doesn't do the same stuff. It's still a 3/6 for 4. That's the big deal.
Yeah.
And you know, 6 health against Mage is kind of handy. Means they have to fireball something out of the way, which is damage that isn't going face. It's also a minion that's not being developed. So yeah, it's a pretty good card, it turns out. I think it's one of the few cards that everybody knew was good the second they saw it.
All right, let's jump into game number 2, and that's a Pyros. That's an Inner Fire. That's a Razor Leaf. It's going to be Silence Priest.
Silence Priest against...
A bit Mage.
Yeah, I think this is almost certainly a tempo/secret mage, though, however you want to call that deck
but
now.
there's an Ice Barrier in it.
There is an Ice
An
Barrier.
Ice Barrier would indicate it's Freeze or Gunther. Obviously, it's not going to be Freeze with Mana Worm and Pyros, but I don't think you typically see Ice Barrier in the more aggressive lists, so my money is on Gunther.
Yeah, could be. Could well be. I put Mage in the more predictable list, but it's definitely getting slowly but surely more unpredictable to the exact builds. And Silence Priest we haven't seen that much of recently, but it hasn't gone away. It's still a powerful deck. Good use of the Priest here as well, just in general, putting it in with Shaman and using it as a bluff and getting to use it.
Wow, strong hand for Exigo there. If only he could pick up a secret. I say it's a strong hand. It's because there's a Mana Worm there.
Right,
and
a strong hand equals a Mana Worm.
And a coin and a 3-mana spell. Like, to me, that makes for a strong hand, especially against this not-so-strong hand of Roger's. He needs to pick up a Purify, a Silence, just something to make some use out of his hand.
Yeah, if you don't get the 1s or the 2s, like the actual 2s, not the spell 2s, when you're playing this deck, you end up in a lot of trouble very quickly. You can definitely fight back, but yeah. Yeah.
All right, Humongous Razor Leaf now got the Silence in hand. Taiwan, Roger looking good to go. Silence plus Divine Spirit. Usually pretty strong, but we can see there's a Polymorph in Exigo's hand.
This is a very control-y deck. It does look indeed like it could be Gunther for sure with that Polymorph. You don't see it in many other decks. And it's going to carry on hitting in the face.
It's something we have seen a little bit experimented with. It's just Gunther Mage with Pyros. Pyros is just a little bit of extra value, a little bit of extra sustain. sustained damage over time.
Really tricky here for Taiwan. Which card do you want to throw into the counterspell? It's not a counterspell, but they will assume that it is.
My inclination is Powered Shield
Yeah,
first.
I think so. The cards are so crucial in this deck, but that silence is even more important.
Because if you play the silence first, then you've got no, and it is a counterspell, you've got no way of getting this to attack. If you Powered Shield and it's not silence, you lose the buff, but you still get the card draw.
Yeah,
So
that's what they're going to go with.
that's the obvious choice, I think. Now, Roger knows he's safe to play the silence. There's no Spellbender, there's no counterspell.
But now he's got to play around Mirror, so he might not play the Acolyte. He might actually play the other Razor Leaf instead.
Right, yeah. I wouldn't mind giving my opponent a Razor Leaf if I was the Silence Priest. I don't think the Mage has any way of silencing it unless they get Cabal Courier into Purify or something.
And he's not even going to make that decision. He's just going to just turn this thing into a humongous Razor Leaf and just get on with his life.
Circle of Healing. We've been seeing that a lot more in Priest decks recently, but there you go. 420 humongous Razor Leaf about to become a 1/1 sheep.
Yeah, the reason he... Normally you wouldn't buff it there because of Polymorph, but you want to play around Fireball more than you want to play around Polymorph against an unknown Mage. And it's still reasonably unknown, especially the way that Mana Worms are just turning up everywhere recently.
Roger just gave kind of a sharp nod when that happened. Like, okay, I kind of expected that. That's fine. Let's move on. Picks up the Shambler. That's really frustrating. If that Polymorph had waited one turn, Shambler could have come down, made a second 420 minion. But unfortunately, not going to happen.
And then you reach this awkward situation where, what do you do?
You hope to pick up a Pyromancer soon, that's for certain. Pyromancer, double Acolyte, Circle of Healing is looking like some great card draw. But Razor Leaf is fine this turn. You've got the Shambler to play next turn if you have to. Can I draw the Acolyte?
I mean, the Acolyte is what you want to put on the board, but I don't think they've tested for Mirror yet, which is why he was taking so long.
Right. Well, Medivh's Valet potentially going to make very short work of that Acolyte. Draw some cards first, then get rid of the 1/3 while developing a 2/3 minion of your own. Seems very strong to me. Arcanologist, a huge pickup as well. Exactly what he needed because the hand's just not going anywhere in a hurry. But it doesn't need to go in a hurry. They're not in a hurry. If you can run the Priest out of minions, you win the game. There's now a weapon removal again, popping up in both of the Gunther mages we've seen today. Seems like a very greedy list from Exego, actually, as we've seen the Pyros, there's Pyroblast as well. Yeah, I think that's a function of what's been happening in the metagame. Decks have been getting bigger and greedier more recently, so they're definitely just trying to out-greed their opponents here. And that might work out well for them as well, because this Priest deck does have a little bit more sustain than you would think. You think you've got the run amount of stuff, and then they steal one of your guys, turn it into a 400/400 and demolish you with it. Right. Sometimes it's not pretty. I think Hungary are in such a strong position here. The fact that they can just get rid of that second Acolyte with a second Medivh's Valet if they want to, with a Frostbot if they want to. Again, I think Medivh's Valet is strictly better in this position. You can just drop Arcanologist as well. And one of the ways you beat the Silence Priest is that you just get rid of their card draw, you make them run out of resources, and getting rid of both Acolytes with one hit each is a pretty good way of doing that. The trouble is you're scared of this Razor Leaf, like just killing you. Sure. 32/32 is not impossible. So do you target the Acolyte, which is going to draw the cards to make that possible, or do you try and just get rid of the Razor Leaf or make it small to make sure that it can't do that? My kind of half counter to that is that you have got the Ice Block up. If the Razor Leaf does suddenly become a 32/32, then you get popped to 28, right? Or something stupid like that. Gonna play it safe anyway, follow your line, freeze the Razor Leaf. I like that as well. You're setting up the Flame Strike next turn too, or just the Violence Portal. Yeah, managing to keep it down to 4/5, forcing the heal as well. Not forcing the heal, but basically forcing the heal. Anytime you can make that Priest waste that 2 mana, because this deck is tight on mana, then it really helps you to slow them down. And this Pyroblast, there's a lot of worlds where it just ends up hitting a minion, although the damage is gathering in hand, it might just end up going face for the kill with the protection block, but there are worlds where you just take down all the minions and win this. We talked a little bit about earlier how in Priest versus Mage matchups, the key card for the Priest is Priest of the Feast. However, most of the time, Silence Priest doesn't actually run Priest of the Feast. So we were saying, you know, Roger predicted the Mage, brought the Priest because of the Priest of the Feast counter. It looks like that's not what happened at all. Yeah, it does actually look completely different now, to be fair. Circle of Healing, what's... Why? Just to buff up the Razor Leaf? He knows that's not a counter spell. Okay.
Yeah, he needs to find a way to make sure his big minions live. He's already lost one Razor Leaf.
Did he get the hit in? Yeah, okay, he did. It really looked like he didn't. I thought the Potion of Madness was cast before the...
Yeah, rope queuing stuff always scares the heck out of me. And now, what he wants to do is Flame Strike and trade into there, but that's not how Taunt works.
I guess Fireball trade is fine. You can even develop the Ice Barrier there.
Interesting.
Or would you prefer to play Volcanic Potion in that position?
Let's see, I feel that you've got to kill the 4/8, so that's the Fireball out of the way. I mean, the other... Oh, no, yeah. Blah.
So Fireball Volcanic Potion is an option if he's bothered about reducing that Razor Leaf down from 6 to 4.
Sure. 12, 24. 24's fine. Can live with 24. There's no direct damage in the deck unless they get it from Lyra.
Right.
So I think you just Fireball, trade, and then maybe just take this time to set up the barrier. You could also just ping the Razor Leaf just to keep it as an ongoing as small as possible.
Yeah.
But I don't see another time you're going to get this sneak this barrier down.
Pinging something?
Yeah, pinging the Razor Leaf.
Playing it really safe there. Exactly what you said earlier. The priest minions can just get completely out of control.
I mean, every point of ping is effectively 4.
Right,
You ping that for 4 every time you do that.
Yeah, there was a Divine Spirit in the opening hand, but I don't think we've seen a Shadow Visions used yet. So
Right, we haven't. So.
there's still the potential of another 3 Divine Spirits from Taiwan here. But I imagine that Roger is going to be afraid of drawing his second Divine Spirit, because if he does draw his second Divine Spirit, that's like he loses his win condition, because he's not going to get a 3rd at that point, or a 4th.
Right. And yeah, at some point that will happen.
As Shadow Visions does not pull spells that have already been played, only the ones remaining in your deck. There's a Divine Spirit. I'll be surprised if he doesn't take that.
Yeah, it's kind of their only way to win. If they don't take that, then I'm not sure what they're waiting for.
I guess Purify is okay. He doesn't currently have another way of silencing that.
They've used 1 Purify, 1 Silence already, so yeah, that's a good point. They might be planning ahead for that. But
I do prefer
you can win with Shamblers, you can win with stolen minions, etc.
And look at this. Let's go. Let's just make another Razor Leaf get out of control. It's a 410 now, with the potential to become a 420 again.
Feel that you just Flame Strike this board. If they proc you at 24, so be it.
I don't mind Medivh here because it's such a setup for the next few turns.
Sure.
As long as you don't suddenly, you know, die and end up somehow at 1 health this turn, which is practically impossible.
Yeah, you're pretty right.
Oh, hang on a second though.
Let's find out.
So Taiwan can actually put Hungary down to 1 with Divine Spirit in a fire. Or yeah, they can heal up and then Divine Spirit and then in a fire and pop him at 24.
Yes. What do you want to do? How do you feel?
Do you prefer to pop at 21 or do you prefer to put down to 1 and not pop?
It's a double question, right? Because do you want a 24-24 as well, or do you want a 20-20? There is a difference.
Right.
It's not huge.
Right.
They both die to polymorphs, but one's much better against Meteor than the other.
Yeah. Also, he can fit in the Shambler this turn, which is pretty insane.
Yeah, that means that you have to do it this way. Like 24 actually survives Meteor, Medivh, and Ping.
Oh, it's a 21.
Oh, I can't add
health.
then. Okay.
We didn't. Okay, so it turned out that was its maximum health.
Sure.
It only taken 1 damage. That's where we got confused there. But popping a 3 seems very, very good in this situation.
Yeah, it seems so much better.
Hungary going to be a little bit frustrated that they didn't drop the ice barrier earlier. That would have saved the ice block and potentially given them an extra turn. Violence portaling own minion. Looks like that's a concede. Oh. Honestly, not too sure why you'd Firelance portal your own.
Yeah, we missed that. They basically decided to make it a 21-20 by healing in different order.
Yeah.
And then doubling.
Okay.
So nicely it worked out there to get the proc correct. Missed by the casters. What's new there? There's 4 there. There's only 2 of us. And nicely worked out there. And a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, looking really strong for the team. Now, both of these teams went in with a 0-1 match record in Stage 2 of the Hearthstone Global Games.
And they both lost 3-0.
0-3 game record as well. So it's really important, actually, for these guys to actually win this.
Yeah, losing 3-0 twice, especially for Hungary. There's 4 of the third-place teams in each group go through, which means that some teams will probably go through with 1 win, but not the ones that have lost 6-0 in their first 2 games.
Exactly, and this is the thing. We were talking earlier about how the teams that get 2 wins, they're probably through. But now we're going to say, like, there's so few games in Stage 2 of the Hearthstone Global Games. It means if you lose your first 2 series, especially if you lose 0-3, like you were saying, it's super unlikely that you can climb your way back up.
That's a lot of series, those series. So we're going into Paladin and Warlock versus Warrior and Rogue. I was going to say here that there's a massive advantage for Taiwan because they know that they're going to be playing against the Paladin, and they've got Rogue and Warrior is basically one of the most versatile matchups because you can beat anything with them, but they're up against the Warlock.
Joke is on you, Tom. Not Tom. Pimping Ho is up next.
They're just hanging out in the menu, casually waiting for their next game.
Joke's on you, because Penhadani is playing the Warlock. So, what do we expect? Last week we saw Blood Balloon Warlock. It did a really good job. It was a deck that was full of weapon removal, specifically seemed to counter the Warlock. It's coming up against the Warrior now. Maybe a similar deck could do just as well.
I'm wondering if this is Dirty Rat Zoo, and they were hoping to get into the Rogue.
Okay.
And they just got second guess. I'm assuming this will be Taunt Warrior, because if you play Rogue with, like, Pirate Warrior, you're weak to the same things.
Right, sure.
So
It's funny because when Stan Sifka did it, when he brought the Warlock, he brought the Bloodboon Warlock, and it was done in a very specific way. It was in the ace match. It was when his opponent had to choose between Paladin and Warlock. He knew his opponent would pick the Paladin, and he brought the Warlock specifically to then counter the Paladin. It was very well thought out. This isn't quite the same because you imagine Penhadani had no way of knowing if Pimping Ho was going to bring the Warrior.
that's right. You just take your Warlock against 1 or 2 decks and hope to queue into them, and then if you get that 1 or 2, then you've tried to force it in that direction by pairing it with a Paladin. The problem with Paladin now is you don't know what you're forcing your opponent to pick, because are they picking into the Control Paladin that's becoming more and more popular?
Right.
I've heard some players say they think it's the best deck in the format, some good players, like I think Orange was one.
Yeah, I don't disagree, honestly.
I do.
Okay.
I think that Evolved Shaman's the best deck in the format.
Oh, yeah. I think that's probably...
Are you going to agree with me and Orange?
I think that's the best. I think Control Paladin is one of the best decks in the format.
Sure.
But I do think Evolved Shaman is the strongest deck right now.
But all the other Paladins are also, doesn't agree with Orange, agrees with me for some reason. That doesn't seem like the right choice at all. But it could also just be an aggressive Paladin. Those are still very good decks.
Well,
again, the Paladin,
We're about to find out as we jump into the game, and it's going to be a zoo from Penhadani, waiting to see those Dirty Rats versus Pimping Ho on the Quest Warrior, as correctly predicted by you.
Yeah, and this could just end really badly.
For someone.
For Hungary in particular, yeah, for somebody. It could definitely end really badly, probably for me.
Oh, it always ends badly.
One of the reasons that Zoo went out of the format, is this Taunt Warrior. Zoo used to have a decent enough matchup against Warrior. It wouldn't get obliterated by Control Warrior. You had ways of forcing brawls. But since Taunt Warrior came out, Zoo just can't even use that card advantage in the late game to just get the last few points of damage through. So
it's all about speed, isn't it? Like, it's not a bad hand that we can see from Penhadani.
It is a decent-looking hand.
Because as Imp into Direwolf Alpha into 3-drop, it could go on from there. There's no Imp Gang Boss anymore. Zoo's really missed that card.
Yeah, Imp Gang Boss just made such a big difference. As did just the general synergy as well. But
it's like Hunter just kind of do what Zoo used to do better. They're better at just developing all of these cheap tokens.
Yeah, Paladin's better at it. And the card advantage from Zoo doesn't seem to be good enough anymore. All the other classes are playing stuff like Medivh to get their card advantage, or you're playing Sulfuras to get your card advantage. And Zoo's pressing the button and drawing a 2-drop. And somewhere in the world that got lost as not good enough. Even though a free, inverted commas, card every turn should be gigantic in this meta.
It's just too slow for these aggressive decks nowadays. I didn't mention as well, Shaman, very good at summoning cheap tokens. It seems like it was not doing the class justice to not mention that. Now, Pimping Ho he's considering coining out the Fiery War Axe, which does make a lot of sense here, actually. If you're going to do it, now seems like a good time. You can then deal with any 2-drop that comes down the following turn. Don't think there's any reason to develop the quest right now.
The only problem with the War Axe play is the fact you lose your coin.
Yeah.
And the coin when you've got a handful of 3s is pretty relevant. The downside is if you play this now and you just get a succubus comes down or something. Because you don't know what you're up against. You're up against Warlock in this format. This Warlock isn't likely to just be a standard deck.
No.
It's likely to be heavily teched against your decks.
Okay, well, Quest, pass is the way to go. Another one drop for Penhadani. Penhadani can pick up a discard card sooner rather than later.
Right.
He might be in a good position. Like, if now the War Axe comes down and deals with Direwolf, which I think is the more obvious trade.
I think it is, yeah. Actually, I think you just deal with the Imp, personally.
Okay.
It's just going to cause you too much damage if they Soulfire your face, get a Silverware Golem. Blah,
Yeah, I mean, that's where I was going to go with that. Like, if next turn Hungary can drop the second Malcolm Imp and play Soulfire, it'd be a pretty good swing.
I think when you've got these Tar Creepers, the dog isn't that much of an issue.
Yeah.
You're going to kill something big. The worst card that can happen to you is the Councilman here, and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, Voidwalker's a pretty interesting pickup for Penhadani as well, because it can essentially protect the Direwolf Alpha soon. If Ping Ping Ho slam and gets rid of the Councilman with the War Axe here, which is an option for him, it may be one he feels like he has to do, then that Direwolf is not going anywhere anytime soon. Okay, because next turn, the second Councilman plus Voidwalker are going to do a great job of protecting the Direwolf, and Voidwalker also going to protect the Councilman in the process. Yeah,
really difficult turn, actually, for Taiwan here. They've got to assess, is this the biggest threat we're likely to face? And I think they'll come to the conclusion that it might be. Which is a really good conclusion. It's not exactly a conclusion, something might happen. But I do feel that I think they might slam, but it looks like they're not going to.
What are the bigger threats in the Zeus deck? Maybe Ravenous Pterodax, maybe Sea Giant, maybe. I've seen it a little bit in Evolved Shaman recently.
Yeah, especially, I mean, it's good against Evolved Shaman. That's the reason Evolved Shaman started playing it, for the mirror.
Ooh, good draw for Hungary there. It's just a question of, are they happy to sacrifice this second Councilman? They're not happy.
No, I think you dump all this on the table, and then next turn you're going to have a hand, another draw at Silverware Golem, and also you can play your Imp, Soulfire something, and get on with your life.
That's really good, actually.
Remember that this thing can't actually do any damage.
Tar Creeper, it's not even going to get through the Voidwalker, is it? Basically turns into a Voidwalker on...
I was just about to say, there's no brawl in the hand for Ping Ping Ho, but now there is.
Uh-oh.
That makes his life a lot easier.
So what's he do this turn? Just drop the second Tar Creeper and just bide his time?
So I assume his plan is to brawl next turn. The brawl's not going to get any better than this, or brawl on turn 6 maybe, which means he's got to work out which minion he wants to re-establish with after the brawl.
Yep.
And so he may just dump the Acolyte on the table now as brawl bait. He may also go the other way, jump the Hatchling, and just say, I'll wait till you've dealt with all this and then save my brawl for later.
I don't think I'm a huge fan of the Acolyte. I like the idea of drawing the cards afterwards, but I'd be a little bit afraid if I was Pimping Ho about how much damage I'm going to take next turn with these Councilmans both on the board. If there's only one taunt in the way, we can see Soulfire plus Voidwalker would deal with the Tar Creeper, and then both Councilmen would be free to smack the face. I do like this Tar Creeper play.
So do you want to coin slam as well?
I wouldn't have minded the Direhorn Hatchling either. No, I don't think I see a benefit in slamming. Well, coin slam and then trade with the Voidwalker. Nah, just leave it for the brawl. Just do this, because this protects your face from almost everything.
Sure. There's a Doom Guard.
Okay. Playing that now could be a huge mistake. But actually, it's annoying because you don't want to discard it. And I think Penhadani wanted to play the Imp and the Soulfire this turn.
I think you tap, take the 50-50.
Yeah.
Tap Imp, Soulfire to be clear, and see how your day is.
Yeah. It's a long time since we've been in this position.
The thing is, they can't see the brawl, so they may want to just protect this board and be a bit safe. I think you tap whatever and see how you feel.
I imagine going into turn 5, they have to be thinking about it. That's not good.
That's fine. No, that's fine. Now you can Soulfire and keep Doomguard.
Yeah, okay, that's true. I was looking at the other end of the coin. It was like, well, now you guarantee you're discarding Doomguard.
It means your late game is gone to pieces, which means you probably go all in now and intend to go in the turn after. But it also means you don't have the decision to worry about.
It means you have a definite restock after the brawl.
I mean, your other choice is to just keep tapping and hope to dodge all this discard and your Doom Guards both survive, but that's going to take you forever.
No, you can't do that. You have to play Imp Soulfire here.
You are not the boss of me.
And hopefully draw a 1-drop you can play to buffer counter.
Yeah, and emote after your Doom Guard gets discarded as well.
Okay, all right.
Bit greedy.
Oh dear. 2 brawls. Oh dear.
I'm not sure why you'd put the imp on the board there if you're not going to attack with your big minions and you're not going to use your discard.
So I thought the plan was there. Soulfire, if you can get a 1-drop, great. Buff up one of the councilmen, make a straight trade. Soulfire, trade the Voidwalker in, other councilman goes face. But he decided not to go for it.
Yeah, I think if you're going to go wide there, you commit. If you're not, you keep the imp in your hand and you Doomguard next turn and refill your hand, I feel. But
yeah, weird that. I wonder if they weren't entirely sure about that play either.
Yeah, they did get pretty close to the rope. Yeah, they're still discussing it. Look, there's head on hands in the background.
In the background, come on.
There's thinkings, there's feels bad mans. It's all going on in that room right now. Meanwhile, Taiwan picked up the second brawl, which makes this turn significantly easier.
Well, you say that, but they're taking their time with it. I wonder if they're considering just dropping the hatchling. Acolyte of Pain. Hang on a second. So now the slam and the trade's gonna happen. No? Okay. Alright, I'll just stop.
Alright, they feel stuff everywhere. Alright, so now Hungary are gonna get a pretty big turn.
Yeah, that was risky from...
Yeah, I mean, they've telegraphed they've got something in their hand, right? Why would you drop an imp if you haven't got the Doomguard? You can just about work out their hand from that imp play. It did protect their... their councilman slightly, but that was all. Feels to me like that was a good brawl turn, but you are scared of the Doomguard coming straight back down, of course.
This is pretty nice, though. You Soulfire, I guess, first, and then you just drop Doomguard after that. Buffs up one of the councilmans to 5/5. Doomguard straight trades into the other one, or, again, Soulfire plus the Voidwalker going to do the job.
In fairness, Taiwan here have forced the Doomguard to get caught by the brawl as well, so that's a deal. You emote there for sure.
They're just regular strats emote there.
And now everything's going to get brawled away, but...
That's a lot of damage that gets put in, though.
Yeah, it is.
10 damage. Okay, sure, the imp trades, but then it's still 9 damage. Was it necessary to trade that imp?
Means that you win the brawl for sure.
Okay.
That's a thing. It prevents some sort of bump sleep with the fishes into the Doomguard.
I do not understand Taiwan's play last turn. The Acolyte Slam. I was trying to get my head around it then. I still don't get it. Like, brawling that turn seemed so easy, like you said before, such a simple decision. If you're not going to brawl, then sure, drop the Direhorn Hatchling. Just play it safe. There's no reason to make these risky plays like this. But now, brawl's going to happen, and Pimminghoo's only got 13 health left.
Yeah, I feel they took it as a telegraph there was Doomguard, and they wanted to just make sure... They seemed to feel that they could get the brawl down and... Because they played more minions, so they're setting up for the brawl. Sure. They seem to feel they could get more stuff down and still recover because of their hand, but...
But even then, just playing the taunt just seemed better to me than Acolyte, Slam it, develop nothing, and...
Yeah, they didn't need the cards. Their hand was good enough. Like, you only need cards in Hearthstone if your hand's not good. That's one of the differences from other card games. If your hand's good, you can draw the cards later.
Not looking good now, though, with the Doomguard staring you down. Going to be at 8 health by the end of this one.
I think they still hang on, barring disasters, though.
Well, they can coin out Primordial Drake next turn, which is pretty big. If they need to, even.
Yeah.
Curator might be good enough.
But it is going to be tight.
It's just getting close. That's my only issue with this.
Yeah, definitely. They're going to have to try and weave in their hero power to stay alive. And one Silverware Golem at the right time just could turn this. Soulfire into Silverware Golem would just be game here. Not making the mistake of trying to be too greedy when you've got a board to build.
That's a really good draw. Taiwan can just play both Bloodhoof Braves. That feels like the safest way to go for me.
See, so that would put the 12, 20. And they're up against 5, 6, 7, 10. Yeah, that seems pretty safe.
Just a really nice pickup. And also this sets up the Primordial Drake next turn. Chances are the Silverware Golem and the Void Walker both get traded in to these 2 6s, end up with 1 health. Actually, one of them might just be traded back because of the Enrage buff.
Yeah, Defender Vargas is going to be a nice, clean kill. Obviously now, Taiwan trying to get to the point where they can brawl and hatchling, which would be turn 10. That's like the turn where you win.
Sure.
Before then, they're going to try and find ways to get their hero power active, but it's really difficult right now. Obviously, next turn, just ghoul into hatchling. I think that's the play you just suggested. Looks really powerful because of the buffs.
Yeah.
My shield for Argus.
That clean trade is frustrating.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Really good for Hungary.
I still think Primordial Drake's just okay here, though. Like, that's another Possessed Villager. Primordial Drake clears almost everything. It leaves Argus, Doomguard, and the 1/1.
Yeah, I think that's what we will see. They can brawl into Stonehill, but...
I think Brawl into Stonehill's better now. As long as the Doomguard doesn't survive the second brawl.
Can they ghoul into Stonehill and get an extra 2 on their hero power? No, that's pretty risky. Brawl into Stonehill makes sense.
I liked Primordial Drake, except it left enough damage to get rid of the Drake and then 1 to go face guaranteed. I think this is just the best.
This is pretty terrifying against Soulfire, though.
Ravaging Ghoul. There you go. Why even play Stonehill Defender?
Sure.
Oh yeah, it's scary if there's a Soulfire, but it's only putting Pimping Ho down to 8. Sorry, down to 4.
Yeah, now he just... Unless this draw is insane. There is the Dirty Rat.
Called it.
I got something right.
Dirty Rat Zoo trying to get the Quest Rogue. Ooh, there's the Soulfire.
Yeah, unfortunately, this Dirty Rat has just turned up at exactly the wrong time against exactly the wrong deck. This was basically expecting your opponents to play Quest Rogue, and if you Dirty Rat against Quest Rogue, you're in such a strong position, and Zoo just destroys Quest Rogue in that position.
Yep, they've played their Glacial Shard, they've bounced it twice, it's in the hand, ready to go the 3rd time, and then you Dirty Rat it out and kill it.
On top of the fact you've got a board that's just hitting him in the face over and over.
Yeah.
So good against Royal Rogue, but the Q didn't work, and I think they were right. I think they were right to go for it here. Their Paladin was very likely to run into the Rogue. Because Paladin, but they had to set up the read. That's the thing. They had to set up the read that they were playing a control Paladin, and Taiwan didn't buy it. They just went with, I don't think you are control Paladin.
Yeah.
And some people think the Warrior's okay against a control Paladin anyway. That's the other problem.
It's certainly an interesting matchup.
So I think they saw, oh, we've got a tech Warrior against Rogue. Let's go. Warlock against Rogue, but they didn't factor in what's our opponent going to pick. They just saw the Rogue and their eyes lit up.
Yeah, like, yes, the dream, it comes together, but no, unfortunately, it hasn't come together. And now, Pimping Ho is just getting a better and better position as this goes on. He can get an extra Stonehill Defender just for an extra cheap taunt that protects the face. Tar Lord's tempting too. All of these cards look okay, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, just pick one.
Just keep chaining these Stonehill Defenders, why not? You can play that and then armor up this turn. You've got enough protecting your face. Gaining armor is all you really need to do.
Yeah, decent implications for the group, really, as well, because both teams lost 3-0 last week. Hungary now are almost out of this tournament, even if they win 3-0 next week. It's just so hard to get... Yeah, the lucky losers are going to be better than 1 win and -3. They're going to be teams that like lost 3-2 twice and won 3-0 and things like that. Whereas Taiwan, a 3-0 win, 3-0 loss, that's obviously exactly average. They're right back in this event. Group D tomorrow doesn't continue. It continues on Thursday with Brazil versus New Zealand. That's like the winner's match. It's not deliberate. The matches were predetermined. We happen to have 10 of the 12 matches over this week are teams on the same score as each other. If you wonder why I'm ignoring this game, look for yourselves. That's why
Feels bad, man, for Hungary, but celebration from Pimping Ho there. Look at that. Very happy to be back in the tournament, as you said. Like, back pretty much middle of the road score now. Yeah, they're going to be pretty good, happy with that.
Yeah, Pimping Ho recently went 11-0 in the Japan Major, so he's having a good run here in global games as well. Turns out that if you go to BlizzCon and stuff, you're quite good at Hearthstone.
Yeah. I tried to go to BlizzCon.
Yeah?
Tried to enter some tournaments.
Couldn't get a ticket?
No. Let's see how that went one more time. Penhadani Exego, and Penhadani once again losing with their Hunter, Mage, and Warlock. Funny that, Warlock losing.
In fairness, it is actually kind of unusual. When people have brought Warlock, it's done its job. It's only played so rarely. If you played it every week, it would lose a lot.
Yeah, you're right. Warlock actually has a relatively decent win rate in the Hearthstone Global Games because they use with such a firm strategy in mind. And as we've seen with Stansifka, he really pulled it off. Unfortunately, Penhadani not able to do that. We're going to have a chat with Pimping Ho now, though. Hey, man, congratulations on getting your win against Hungary. How does it feel to now be like back in the competition? Because obviously, you guys must have been a bit disheartened after losing the first series so badly.
Yeah, like, we cannot lose another match.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, because we got like 3-0 last time.
Yeah.
But we were really unlucky this time, and I guess we get luck back this time.
So you're feeling a little bit more motivated now, maybe?
I'm always motivated.
I knew that answer was coming. How did you feel when they queued up the Warlock? Did you guess it was going to be Dirty Rat?
Oh, we expect it to be like a Blue Warlock, like trying to target Rogue.
Yep.
But I never expect the 30 Red.
And which Paladin did you think they were going to play when you queued up the Warrior?
Actually, we don't know, but I think Warrior is okay, like okay against the control and maybe the aggro one.
Right.
So I think like on average it's probably okay.
Okay.
All right, final question for me. You brought Silence Priest this week.
Yeah.
Why Silence Priest? Because there's been a lot of development with Priest recently. Do you just think Silence Priest is the best build right now?
I think it is, and like most of us like haven't like played with much of other priests. Most of us have only played like Silence Priest, so we brought it. Yeah, kind of.
Okay, fair enough. Well, one more time, congratulations on getting your win. Go and celebrate, and we'll see you again next week.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, confirming there about the Paladin is what was interesting to me with, you know, they did just pick the Warrior anyway into Paladin, so picking the Warlock into it was definitely an error there by Hungary.
Yeah, it's funny that he even said they kind of expected the Warlock.
Yeah, so they just dodged everything there and thought they were okay anyway.
As we take a look back at this very quick stomp from Taiwan, it's fair to say, and Hungary, you mentioned this, I'll mention it again, they're not going to be feeling good now. They're 0-6 in their game record in Stage 2 of the Hearthstone Global Games. I don't think we've done the maths on this specific score, but I don't think they can qualify now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anything's certain, but they're in a really awful spot. I would go as far as to say, yeah, they're probably pretty dead.
Such a strong play from Roger.
Yeah, this was the play we missed. And
finding the way to pop the block on 3.
And just in case you need another 21-21 in your life, there's another one.
Doubling the health and then getting the heal right, yeah.
Yeah, Taiwan rewarded for being greedy with the Brawl. There were ways it could go wrong, I felt, but they did finish using both Brawls, which means they probably used them efficiently.
It felt so risky to me, that first play, when they not only didn't play the Brawl, they also didn't develop a taunt, and then they got down to 8 health as a result, but it didn't matter in the end. Taiwan were able to take it away. They were able to build this wall of taunts, and Hungary just dropped the concede at the appropriate time, I think. No need to play this game anymore. It's very much over.
And a win for the APAC region.
All right, APAC Dad, let's take one more look at Group D so you can be all smug with this.
Yeah, this whole group is a group of teams that were neglected, although, in fairness, Kura did pick Brazil out.
Yeah.
But New Zealand, Taiwan, Hungary, Taiwan obviously known to be good. Hungary, New Zealand, 2 teams we overlooked, and they're going fine, although Hungary, not so much now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just funny how it's come together, because in the West, we don't typically look at the APAC regions as some of the best teams, but I think it's impossible to deny in this tournament that they have proven themselves as a region that are a force to be reckoned with together. And again, I know that you're very happy about this.
I am very happy about it, and hopefully they continue to do so.
We are going to go to a short break, but next up, it's going to be China versus Malaysia. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
We're almost there. Quiet down, everyone. This is not like any of our previous expeditions. This will be far more ambitious. We're stepping into a land of primordial wonder. Infused with astonishing elemental energies. The plant life here holds very unusual properties. So don't touch anything. And while you may be excited to see the local fauna, you might want to make sure they don't see you. A because their powers of adaptation are devastating. Make no mistake, we will be tested at every turn. But if we stay on our guard, we might just survive. Now then, are you ready? Then let's journey into Ongoro Crater